This is a Terex 3307 dump truck. It's made by NZG, as in 1/40th scale. Now, there's a lot of different names that people have for these trucks. Some people call them rock trucks or haul trucks or pay haulers. Some people also call them Euclids or Ukes for short. Now, in this particular instance, Uke is a very accurate name for this truck because Terex bought Euclid. So this is basically a late generation Euclid truck. That's just an interesting tidbit. It's just one of the names that people have. It's just a generic name, but in this case it's accurate. As far as the scale goes, it's 1/40th scale, which is a lot bigger than 1/50th, but not terribly bigger. Back in the day, Ford had an agreement with Ertl to make their farm toys in 1/12th scale as opposed to 1/16th. And the reason for that was Ford wanted their farm toys to look bigger than any other brand. So it was just kind of like a psychological thing that you look at all the farm toys on the shelf and you see the Ford tractors and you think, wow, those Ford tractors are big. And that was what they wanted. And it was only Ford that had that deal with Ertl. And I kind of had to wonder if Terex had the same thing with NZG, because there's only like maybe 4 models that Terex made that were in 1/40th scale, but they're all from the same era, and I kind of wonder if it was the same deal. Anyway, as far as the truck itself goes, the condition is definitely played with. A lot of the paint's missing, a lot of paint chips. Just, generally wore down. So somebody was playing with this, and that's fine. I think this is probably one of the best NZG models that can be played with, because it's a very stout truck. It's very heavy. It's very well built. You can see the ladders and the handrails here. They're real beefy. I think it'd be pretty hard to break these off. Otherwise, though, it's a nice heavy truck. As far as the detail goes, it's pretty basic, but I think it's probably average or maybe above average for what you'd expect from NZG from at the time. It does have some steering down here. Not a very good steering angle, but certainly not bad. You do have a little bit of suspension for the truck, for the rear axle, and it does dump at a pretty fair angle. I think overall it's really a pretty nice model given the time frame. You can see a little bit of detail there between the frame and the hydraulic tank. You see a little bit of the motor detail up under the hood. And if you look inside the cab, there's really nothing to talk about. You have a buddy seat there, which is interesting, and the steering wheels come loose. You can see it kind of laying on the floor there. I'm not really sure how to get the cab off of there to fix it. Just not really sure how it's attached. But anyway, overall it's not a bad model. And like I said, it's 1/40th, so it's definitely bigger. What's interesting about the truck, though, is it's almost not noticeable. When you have the rubber tire loader, the dozer, and the scraper, you can tell pretty quickly that they're bigger than 1/50th, but the truck, it's not the case. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because the truck, the truck is the same basic design. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, throughout the different models. So they all look the same. So I mean, this just looks like it's a bigger model than what it really is, but still on 1/50th scale. So that's interesting. Overall, though, it's not bad. I think, again, for the time, it's not a bad model. The tires are kind of interesting because they're clearly labeled as Continentals. The tread pattern and all that's pretty nice, but it's just interesting that it has an actual tire brand. Again, you kind of have to wonder if that's something that Terex wanted specifically, or maybe that come from Continental, who knows. But it's very interesting that they would have an actual brand, whereas other haul trucks and back dumps and everything else do not have a brand on the tires. So anyway, that's about it. overall, it's a nice truck, and it's definitely, I don't know if you want to call it a relic of a different time, but it's a nice older model. Anyway, that's about all I have for that. As always, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more of what we have, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.